What's wrong with America? Well, there's a lot of things wrong with America. But let's start with the 535 idiots that are in Washington on our behalf, trying to make decisions for all of us. Understand that they all don't represent all of us. The ones you sent there represent you. The ones I sent there represent me. All of them up there are trying to represent us collectively. The problem is, none of them want to cooperate with each other to try to do something that's best for all of us. We've gotten to the point where politics is show business. Grandstanding, trying to point fingers is all that we want to do anymore. And quite frankly, that's getting us nowhere. The country is about to get lost. And the primary reason at the top of the list is finances. We got a lot of other issues to deal with. I'll deal with those later. The racism issues. We've got poverty and education issues, and we've got crime issues. We've got a lot of problems that we need to fix. But first and foremost is the financial issue. And we're in trouble, folks. The debt that we're piled up, the last election, it was all about Bush. Bush, it was all about Clinton. I'm a Republican, but quite honestly, at least Clinton got rid of the deficit. Now he canned 300,000 federal employees. Way to go. He put a cap on welfare. Way to go. Did some things that were pretty right-wing in order to get that done, but he did it. And Bush, had some things he had to pay for. 9/11 wasn't anybody's fault, but we had to do something about it. No matter what your opinion is, something would have had to get done to wage some type of war, whether it be a cyber war or political war or sanctioning. It was going to cost us money. Beyond that, we got to the point where we allowed ourselves to get greedy. Things were going good, and we didn't want to look at what the situation was causing. And the point about pointing fingers at this point is useless. Who did what? It's already done. Find some guys and arrest them. Put them in jail. The poor guy on the street gets caught with a dime bag of marijuana. He's going to jail. We got all these other fat cats sitting around spending money. None of them are going to jail. Talking about who did it and why ain't going to get us anywhere. Prosecute some people. Show us that you're going to do something about it. Don't be partisan about putting people in jail. But how are we going to get out of the situation? Spending like we did in the 30s to try to get people working. It's notable, but it's going to get us in debt. Let me just tell you what situation we got that would clear us out. We got a tax structure that is just as bad and just as responsible for everything else in this country. The IRS is the most evil thing we've got. Now, do we need to collect taxes and pay for social services? Absolutely. But taxing income has done nothing but create an underground economy. We've got a whole specialization of trying to hide income. Rich, poor, it don't matter. You can sit here and talk about tax the rich, leave the poor alone. That's all bullshit. Taxing income is not very productive. The people that got it are going to hide it. And you can raise taxes all you want to. You're not going to tax the rich. The middle class, that's all you got left. The middle class can't afford to be taxed to death. The lower income people aren't paying taxes. So we got 1 million employees working this huge dinosaur, this tremendous funnel of money that's going out of the government to try to tax income. So we got people trying to hide income. We're spending billions of dollars manipulating money. When what we need to be doing is taxing spending. If you tax spending, it's the most fairest thing you can do. Now, I'm not talking about a national sales tax. I'm talking about a value-added tax where we tax manufacturing. That way, the price is built in. All right? And if you buy a $100,000 boat, or you buy a $5,000 Yugo, or you buy a 10-cent piece of gum, the tax has been added to the manufacturing. Government collects it daily, weekly. It's a continuous income stream, not once a year. And there is no manipulating. There is no getting around it. It's already been put into the manufacturing process, and it's in the retail price of what we buy. And then it's fair for everybody. You spend a lot of money, you pay a lot of tax, because it's a higher tax on the higher priced goods. And do we exempt food and medical supplies? Maybe. But if you tax spending, you're going to pick up the underground economy. It don't matter if you make money. Think of all the income that's made drug dealing and garage sales on eBay, illegal money that's made from immigrants that aren't paying taxes. We've got so much income that's not being reported. You know, it's double, 2, 3, or 4 times the amount of money that's being reported as income is actually being spent. Look at the gross national product. Take a figure, a percentage of that, you know, and see how much money we'll make. We can simply get out of this debt problem by changing the tax structure overnight. If we did away with the whole income tax and tax spending, it wouldn't matter if you sold drugs, it wouldn't matter how you made your money, we don't care. You know, and that's a whole separate issue, is how we go fight whether money's made legally or illegally. But if we tax spending, everybody that spends money, the drug dealer goes out and buys a Rolex, we collect a tax on that. Right now, we don't collect tax on that. People are hiding their money, and they're not paying taxes on it, but they're spending that money. If we tax spending, we will revolutionize not only the tax structure, but we'll save ourselves. We'll get out of debt almost overnight without having to suffer through these pains that we're going through. I mean, how anybody can't see that is beyond me, but we want to spend all our time trying to pretend like, you know, everything's based on racism, everything's based on, you know, looking at people because they're a Democrat or Republican and saying, oh, you vote this way, you know, you're liberal, you're different than me because I'm conservative. That's the same thing as saying you're black and you're white and you're different because you got different skin color. There's no difference saying you're different because you vote a different way or you got a different philosophy. You're an atheist and you're a Christian. You know, pointing out differences in people is the same thing as racism, which we all hate and we all think is wrong. But we have no problem sitting around making fun of each other and attacking each other because of our religious views or because of our political views. You know, that's perfectly okay. And that's what's wrong with us. We're spending our time and our energy on things that are not productive. We need to scale back and do things that make sense. Tax spending and not income, and you'll save this country. What you need to do is contact the idiot that you elected and tell them that you want a change. You want them to look at taxing, spending, instead of income if you want to save this country. If not, Armageddon is coming. The Depression's coming. And it's going to be something that we're not going to get out of. You know, we're Europeanizing this country right now. And Europe ain't never been that great. The world has looked up to us because we've built this country based on the individual being able to decide what's best for the individual. And we'll get to a point now where an individual's not going to be able to make decisions for himself anymore. Nationalizing healthcare, nationalizing banking, nationalizing all the things that we do, we're taking the decisions away from you and me and putting them in somebody else's hands and creating a bigger government. And it's just going to spiral us. There is no end to it. There is no we'll get through this soon or next year or 5 years from now. It's not going to end. You know, you can't bankrupt the country. All you can do is turn it socialist or communist. And it's just wrong. It's wrong for us to sit around and try to just hold on and go week to week and not try to raise our voices and try to have something to say. It's up to you. It's up to you to not think you matter and start harassing the snot out of your elected officials and tell them you're sick and tired of it. And the first thing you can do, the best thing you can do, is get them to look at tax and spending instead of income. As hard as it may be, we're losing hundreds of thousands of jobs every quarter anyway. So if the IRS has to cut its payroll down by 500,000 people, so be it. They'll all find jobs somewhere else because we'll get out of this. If not, buy all the guns you can while they're still legal to buy them, and get ready to be a different country than we were. It's up to you.